G'day and welcome to Making Music. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you a run through of how to write a song, how to produce a song, and even if you're not a musician, this will give you some insights. You'll also hear some music that we have produced, and we'll show you how simple it all really is. Enjoy. And on the piano is Paul Longley. Not on the piano is Richard Monk, and if you've listened to the last 3 episodes, we're kind of digging into a music world that if you're new to it all, this kind of gives you a bit of a window. And if you're hearing that noise, it's not music. That's Paul taking his stuff out of his pocket.
But everything's music, even shaking your keys.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Oh.
But no, we can argue. We can argue. But hey, look. So we've discussed so much already about sort of getting into the mindset, and particularly if you've never sort of played music, or you may have played it, but you've kept it secret to yourself, and you want to keep it all. You know, you don't want to show any performance, but you think you've got it in you, or you've never done it, and you'd like to try this.
And even if you don't think you have it in you,
yes. Yeah, absolutely. So in this episode number 4, we've called it Singing with Chords. Now, admittedly, we came up with that title after our second coffee. So, or was it before the second coffee? But it was somewhere along the line that so Singing with Chords. So, I guess I'm going to be the lay person here because you've got the theory and the performance. So I'm going to.
So do you.
But I'll come in from a lay point.
Okay.
So singing with chords. Now we've got to a point where we kind of understand what we're going to do with the music. We understand what those chords are roughly, but now we want to start adding our own voice to it. We've used our voice somewhere, probably in the shower, or probably may have sung in a choir, or maybe even sung on stage somewhere. But putting those two things together, that's the glue. This part. Singing with chords. What do you reckon? It's an easy way to start?
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to start it out. And I'll just add to that for those who are a bit kind of, whoa, this is a freaky space, the best thing I can say here, and as we were talking about over coffee before, is it's all about just keeping that really, really simple to start with. And when you keep it simple, then you can build on that. And that's what I would like to see happen in our session today.
Okay, so all right, let's do a bit of role play here.
Yeah.
So I have sung in the shower, and I actually did sing on stage one day when I was a bit younger, but I've really loved this. But I also know how to play the keys to a certain extent. I know how to do that. Give me your first step. How do I put these two things together? And this may be something I've written, but we can leave that for the moment. Something that may be familiar.
Yep.
That you know.
Absolutely. Well, first thing I'd say is for those out there who have gone like, hey, I've been doing the last few, listening to the last 3 episodes that we've done and going, hey, I've been like making music up just as I'm doing my thing, been singing to myself, making up my little melodies and enjoying it, or, and finding it to be quite productive. Well, if you want to look at putting that to an instrument and you do, say, play a guitar or a keyboard and just chords, well, that's what we're looking at here.
Okay.
And starting at, we don't have a guitar here, but we've got a piano. And all I'm going to say is just to keep it really simple, a C chord.
Okay. Yes, love it.
If you've got a guitar, you can do the same. You could even play along while we're doing this podcast. And you might just, for those who play some piano but aren't too sure what a C chord is, even if you don't play any piano and you've got a piano, you can just go to the middle guts of your piano, see the 2 black notes, and to the left, play a C, and then you can go up, play a E, and then play a G. C, E, G, C, D, E, F, G, C, E, G, and just play that, and then in the left hand, just play a C. And you've got a C chord. It's very simplest.
Yep.
And then you could just be playing that chord with a bit of a rhythm. Well, not a rhythm, just on the beat.
Yep.
something like that. Just play with that. And then you can just throw a little, I am making up a silly little song, just do the C chord. Just keep it really simple and talk to the chord like this. And there we go.
There we go.
Step.
Yep. And if you should try this. If you've got a keyboard at home or a guitar, you got to give it a go. Now I know there's a point here where we probably go, if there may be somebody listening going, a bit patronising, and I understand that too. But you've got to remember that there is a start to everything.
Yeah, and who's saying this patronising?
That person I'm looking at now.
And dare I will say, like, if someone's saying, well, that's patronising, well, I would say it's patronising too, dare I say, to look at that as an experienced musician and to go, because this isn't for the experienced musician. This is for people who want to start from scratch, the ones who feel patronised by the experienced musician and want to really... feel they can share in the music making stuff too and not be like kind of put down because they're at a potential disadvantage. And that's what this is all about for me, Richard.
There are some musicians through history who have... I just sparked a button there. I think
yes,
I pushed
you did it on purpose. You did it on
purpose.
purpose. You knew what you were doing.
We'll take a moment here. You're listening to Making Music, and here's a song I wrote recently called Loose Tonight.
Well, the wind is cracking hard, the sun is beating down, my feet are screaming mercy and barely touch the ground. My mind is playing tricks about who I really am, but I know when I see you, I'll be doing alright again.
You're listening to Making Music. That's called Loose Tonight by Richard. Now back to how to write music.
There are musicians through history that have only been able to play 3 or 4 chords, and they've written some of the most popular songs in the world.
Yeah,
so
take Paul McCartney.
Yeah, okay. Give me an example of Paul McCartney. What he's done you think is... I know Helen Wheels was all in E. The whole song was E. It was just throw us an E, and it was...
So, sorry, you're asking me to throw you E? Throw you an E.
Yeah, that's it. That's Helen Wheels.
Oh, right. Wow. Cool.
And it's just and that's it. Go if you've got a Beatles collection, go and have Paul McCartney collection.
Yeah.
Go and listen to Helen Wheels, and that's one chord all the way through. I'm sure there's many more.
And this is great, like looking at this and talking about this. To go and look at this, I would say go look at Paul McCartney, and you might go, Paul McCartney's an amazing piano player. Paul McCartney, I'm sure, would agree that he's not. From the videos I've seen of him, he's amazing because he's taken the simplicity of chords and like he always has and included it and used it to support his ingenious songwriting.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, I think we've got to like strip it down for what it is and look at it. And Paul McCartney is a very humble but beautiful keyboard player, piano player in his own right, because he's using it with his music. Well, that's my personal take.
I agree,
Yeah.
and it's without going too much into the esoteric. He puts soul into what he plays, and that's the
through
the thing.
simplicity, and like when you, he's a magician in a sense, I would say, because he's been able to. Through song. This is the thing, and people I don't think get, Richard, is that a lot of keyboard, singer-songwriters who are famous for a particular song, if you listen to their songs, they are doing this. Da, 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 da. Really simple pullback, and you know what? Most people can do that. And that's what I teach my students when they're first getting into playing chords, so they can create like that as well.
And that gives people space too. And I'm a big believer in 3 and 4 chord structures for writing songs, because for me, lyrics, the music is so important, but lyrics are so important at the same time for me when I'm putting the two together.
Definitely. Yeah.
Although you were just doing something then that I think every songwriter does.
What's that?
Well, depending on who you are, but
Yes.
you write the music you're pulling together first, because you've got to get that environment. You've got to get whatever that is. And the lyrics, you were just going, dun, 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 dun. You're getting the melody going at the same time, but the lyrics were probably already forming in your head as you're doing that.
Well, in that situation for me, I was more focusing on just the chord aspect, but I could just sing some notes, like sing some words and notes and make it sound even half-assed crappy and just play a chord to it like a lot of songwriters out, and not that they're crappy, but it's just about playing with it. And I'm intentionally singing out of tune and shitty right now.
Yeah, sure.
Just to make a point.
I do that too in performance.
We can do this. There are words and there's some chords and just how we make it up.
Yeah.
So and I think I'm doing that on purpose, Richard, too, because it's like just to take this what would you call it? This perfectionism out of the whole process.
Yeah.
That, like we were talking about over coffee, is like we can so easily put writers, musicians on pedestals, and I really think it's important to like the ones that want to be put on pedestals. You know what? They're not that crash hot.
No.
But the ones that don't put themselves on pedestal, like the Paul McCartneys and this, that it's about the music, it's about the creative experience, and I think that's what we're trying to draw out here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Richard,
and look, I'm going to throw 2 examples into this mix just for a moment. And I've come from a radio and music background, and there are those people who say, "Oh, yeah, but there's a certain way of writing a song," and you go, "Well." In my experience, I've spoken to a lot of good musicians who have all got different approaches to how to do that.
Exactly.
It still boils down to the same thing, though, that there's music, there's lyrics, and there's melody. I know that's oversimplifying, but
I don't think so.
I
think it can be even made simpler.
the thing with, say, Bernie Taupin and Elton John, for instance, people go, oh, Elton John writes this music and Bernie Taupin writes the lyrics first and it's all back to front. And I said, it's not back to front. It's what you just did then. You created the chord structure where you're going to go. Instead of having to go, you've got the lyrics sitting in front of you, and you've already, in the case of Elton John, he's creating that the music, soul, all that environment, and then pushing Bernie's lyrics into it. And Bernie has a certain way of writing that you've got to be able to fit into the music.
Can I get you on that note? Pardon the pun. Could you just throw me a lyric? Throw me a lyric right now, and I'm just gonna just take that and just to show people how you can
All right.
do that. Just give me a lyric.
Crazy Birds makes sense to me.
Now I'm going to keep it all very monotonal, just to prove a point. Crazy birds make sense to me. I used one chord and two notes. Stayed on the C note in the melody. Crazy birds make sense to me. The two notes was I added a D at the top. Crazy birds made sense to me.
Yeah.
Now we
Perfect.
can embellish that of you. Crazy birds make sense to me. Crazy birds make sense to me. Crazy birds make sense to me. And this is what people can do, eh? They can just take that one line and play with it. Crazy birds make sense to me. They show me where I'm meant to be. And you can be who you wanna be. Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
And that's
New song, by the way. All rights we'll have to copyright it.
But just that whole, and I guess like from what we're talking
Structure.
about is that, yeah, and you know how you said like you've got the lyricists, you've got like, you know, the Bernies and the Elton Johns, and now, and this is what Elton John would do, you know, like with a lyricist, is like take the words and just play and make it his own, and then Bernie Taupman's going like, Taupman, is it Taupman?
Bernie Taupin.
Taupin, I get
Taupin.
it.
You know, interestingly though, through my years in studios and being a music curator as well, there have always been people who start producing music, and they produce it for a specific audience. Now, I'm talking about, there was in the 80s Stock Aitken Waterman, who, you know, Rick Astley, Kylie Minogue, all these people. It was a structure. It was a pop structure, and they were always, you know, three chords and then another chorus and then back to the same.
And very simple.
Very simple. But reality is everyone's going, no, that's not real music. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It absolutely was. And now there's a wave of high production music. That people are saying, we don't get it, we don't understand it, it's not great music. But it reflects who we are and what we are at the time. And it's an important stage in music now, I think. Very important, because the technology, we're moving from sort of that the soul of an acoustic instrument into electronics that has changed the way, and that's been going on since the late 80s, but has changed the way we approach music. But it's no less a music.
And this is a really amazing point, because I was just thinking when you said that, because you said about real music. What is real music? Yeah. And I remember years ago having an argument, not heated argument, but with someone who was staying at my place up in North Queensland, who was a friend of my partner at the time, and he said something like, "Oh, Kylie Minogue's not an artist," and I just said, "She doesn't know what artist is." Whoa! I said, "Yeah, well," and he was like, "How could you think that she is an artist because you're a musician?" I was like, "Mate, wow, how can you not think she's an artist?"
And she's more than a
I'm
single.
not into Kylie Minogue, but I respect her as an artist.
She's a performance artist as well as a music artist.
Absolutely.
She's in about 4 different zones at once.
Yeah.
She can dance, she can sing, she can perform, and she knows how to play outside with pop stardom. Yeah. You have a persona that you when you're talking to people, having interviews, you have to be able to present that as well.
And dare I say, mate, I think it's I'm just going to say it. If you get offended at this, that's your issue. Not you, Richard, but our people out there.
I was getting ready to be offended.
No, not you, because I know you've just shown like you totally get this. That if you think that Kylie Minogue's not an artist, well, you know, I disagree.
Absolutely.
You know, and if that's what you think, then I would say go and check yourself, because you know there's some kind of underlying, you know, issue or criticism in your own self about that. And I'm not with you, but because, you know, everyone, and that's what I'm passionate, and from hanging out with you too,
Agree.
that you totally get that, and that everyone is creative in their own right.
Yes, that's something we'll discuss shortly. But right now, I'm making music, a song from Paul's Mind's Eye album. This is called Steps.
Here are the days laid before us, marked down on paper with pen. But are we not ready to live simple lives once again? One at a time, just like they all did way back then. I'm just as foolish as any, constantly running around. We're wearing our souls out and forcing them into the ground. Oh, spirits scream out, never heard by the rest of the crowd. Why can't we see this is our time, this is our moment? Days fade away, never to return, leaving behind the steps never taken. Maybe I just wasn't listening. But how was I ever to know that better things would have sure happened if I had let go? Oh, living regrets, they're the proof that we reap what we sow. How long for have we been hiding? Will we emerge from the shell? Or will we stay prisoners and captive to our sacred hell? Oh, dying to live, or will death alone break the spell? We see this is our time, this is our moment. Days fade away, never to return, leaving behind the steps never taken. Look out the window, it's open. We're free from the cells in our mind, to think for ourselves and treat others in ways that are kind. Answers appear, as long as we seek we will find. Now we can see this is our time. never to return, leaving behind the steps we have taken. Hey, now we can see this is our time, this is our moment. Days fade away, never to return, leaving behind the steps we've taken. Oh, now we can see this is our time.
Well, that song is from my Mind's Eye album called Steps. We're talking today about what music is and isn't.
Music is not science. It does have elements of science. It has
Yeah.
it has mathematics, it has language, it has tonal stuff, but it also has religious overrides.
Oh,
It's got spiritual. It's got
yes.
so much in it all at once. And
It can take us to another dimension.
totally does. And we were talking, this was on Coffee too, I think. We were talking about the idea of where those ideas for singing come from. Is it something that's going to be, is it coming from your head? Are you, are you funneling this from somewhere? Are you, where does the song come from? And in my mind, when I write, it comes from a lot of different places. But usually I see what I'm about to sing about or write about, and I like writing. I actually pen to paper type writer. You're not so much. You like recording and you like playing it.
I do like penning.
Oh yeah,
penning things to paper.
but mine's at the very front.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So as it's happening, I'm penning it.
Yeah.
But that's everyone's very different to the way they operate. But where the lyric comes from, you're about to break into a lyric. I can feel it already. You can feel it. But where's it coming from? Just I know we're in a podcast and it's not a normal environment, but where's that coming from? You're about to do something now.
All I was doing is I just wanted to make a point that while we were talking even is that I'll ask for those who are, interested in the music, the chord side of it. How many chords have I played in that whole time? We've just been talking one chord. I've just been changing it around, changing my inversions. If you want to get technical, if you don't know about inversions, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've just been playing the same notes, the C, E, G, but just at different voicings, higher ones, lower ones, and just making music with boom, 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 with more on the beat and a bit of rhythm. And I just threw in another note out of the chord there, sorry. But just this whole...
So, all right, let's break that down first.
Yeah.
Let's do the music first. I was going to do lyrics, but I think the music first is in this case, because that's where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. Why those three chords?
I didn't play... one chord, three notes.
Sorry, why those three notes?
Because they're in the C chord.
Okay.
So like we were saying before,
That's clear.
The C, E, G, and yeah, obviously, it's like we can get more complicated than that. But as we've said, Richard, we're trying to keep this for people who are absolute, or feel that they're novices, And even if you do play, and even if you're a full-on classical player, there is when we're looking at songwriting, we need to get back to grassroots.
Yep.
Which is, in this case, C major chord.
Yeah.
You can go and do lots later, go for it. If you get this stuff and you know all your chords, go and bang it out and jam it out. You've got that advantage already, but for people who don't have any, we're just going C chord, and because we want to help them to be able to put melody to a chord.
You've just answered the question though.
Yeah.
Why? Because the chord is where the notes are sitting. So
That's right.
it's a natural progression. So can we just give an example of where it's not wrong, but you go from from a C to pick something that not necessarily where it should go.
Another chord, or
another chord.
Just another chord that shouldn't go there?
Yeah.
Or just notes that I might play outside of that C chord.
Try that first.
Okay, I think that might be a good place to start. So the thing is, when we play we've got a C chord there. Now I could just go like, Like it's really interesting because it's not even going to totally sound that.
Go.
To play, to play something I shouldn't is actually really hard. Maybe that one.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
That might sound what we call dissonant.
Discord,
or,
yep.
dissonant or discordal. But the thing is, well, I am a big believer that, you can make something that's discordant, but then resolve it. That's what music is actually all about, is resolution.
There it is.
So there's discordant. If we stay on that, we're going to be potentially, irritated. But if we resolve it, it actually sounds, and we can make an instrumental out of it. And that's the other thing, I think, which you just brought up a really good point there, mate, is that this is the other thing, is like when you've heard me say there's no such thing as mistakes in music, and people go, well, of course there are. Well, of course there are in certain contexts, but when you're creating music or when you're improvising, like when we were jamming on guitar the other day, and you were hitting notes that you thought were a bit out, and me too, but then we resolved them by not staying or harping on that.
And there's a name for it too, in musical genre, jazz.
That's questionable. The jazz musician will find it very questionable to go, because but it's what it is. It's just making shit up. It's working out what the best way to do it in a way which is still captivating to someone, or primarily to ourselves when we're making it up.
Okay, let's jump. I'm just going to jump us because I'm looking at how much time we've got. We've got a few minutes left.
Yeah.
I want to talk now about the coming up with lyrics and coming up with the tune in your head, I guess, for a better expression. But where those come from because I'm going to ask you, you're a songwriter, where they come from for you.
Are you asking me about my process of how I write?
Okay, so is it a situation or something that strikes the idea for the song for you? Is it something that's happened to you? Is it where does that muse come from?
Many of the lyrics, yeah.
First and foremost,
it depends on the situation. If I'm actually going, I want to write a song about something. There can be some words that are just rolling around in my head, a line. But normally I find when I do that, or have a lyric as such, it comes with a melody. I'm not saying, sometimes I feel like crying. I'm singing it. I'm thinking, sometimes I feel like crying, and I don't, so I don't, it always comes with a melody.
Gotcha.
Or I have a melody without the words.
Yes.
Da, 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 da. What's a nice line of that? I see the leaves fall from trees, or something, And then,
okay, let's stop there because we're going to work with that.
Yeah.
So sometimes you see the leaves from the trees.
Yeah.
You've got your melody. You've got the lyrics. Let's turn it into a song.
I'll go back to C. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like crying. I'll put the leaves in too. I like to watch leaves fall from trees, just like my tears falling.
Beautiful. So if you're listening to this at the moment and you're thinking, hang on, this all actually makes sense, I can do that. Yeah. I think we've succeeded.
Yeah.
And if we're at a point now, I'm talking to the listener, not you and me.
Yeah.
If we're at a point now where we can sit down and just muck around with a couple of chords and start doing that and use Paul's technique, which is lyric and melody come together, the tune and the words can't come together already in your head.
And keep it simple.
Yes.
And I just want to reiterate that this approach is just think of it as if you're talking, like we said in the first episode. Feel like you're talking, and then just put a melody to it. Mm-hmm. I'm talking right here, and I'll just put a note or two or three, but come back to one if I don't know what to do, and then just make it sound monotonal till I get bored with it and put another note to it. And then,
Perfect. And can I just add one more thing? This is from the way I process and write. Mm-hmm. It's about the key for me. that I'm in. It's where if I'm singing. So in that case, you actually went back. You just came back and found the key that worked for you. But you're really good at this. So you can transpose that. You can turn that into another key, the same song but in another key. Can you give me an example?
Same song. To be honest, I think we might need to keep it from going in other keys. And I just wanted to add a really important point. Is that okay?
Yeah, do that.
Sorry, Richard. But
we can use this for another podcast. So
yeah,
cool.
because the other thing too is you made a really important point which I didn't cover is look, because some people can go, okay, Paul, you've played the chord, but how do I know which note is the right note to sing? And so that's a very good point, because if you're struggling with pitching within the chord or getting the note right within the chord, that's something valid. So let's have a look at it very quickly. There's the C, E, G, and then what I would say at the very start, if you can't, just try to sing one of the notes, la, 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 the C. Sometimes I'm sitting on my seat, don't know what to say, or there's an E note, I'm using E, or G, I'm using G. If you're getting really anxious about doing this, just pull it back to something very simple like that. And what you'll find is you just play with it and play with the notes, play with the rhythm, the da-da-dee-da, the beat, bo, bo, boom, boom. Just play with it. And I know we're not giving you set instructions or exercises on how to do it, but this is where you can play with it and have fun with it.
That's right, and just give it a go and see what you can come up. So that's an experimental thing. We're out of time. We're out of time at the moment, but you just tapped on something there too about rhythm, which is our next podcast, and that'll take in all those beats, all those things that pull the thing together and make it do certain things, and we'll go into more detail what a rhythm can actually do to a song. Can change from a ballad to heavy rock by just changing a few things up. But that's the next podcast.
Awesome.
Paul, thanks a lot. That was brilliant.
Thank you, Richard. That was great.
Do we get a play out piece for this podcast?
Yeah. How about we just. This is a song Richard wrote in Ireland. It's called Naked.
I stand naked right here, laid bare my secret fear. Will I live or will I die? Will you laugh or will you cry? Pick up the pieces as they fall. This ain't peace, this ain't war. Show my heart, I'll be free. Trust myself and I will see. Standing ground can hurt like hell. Showing courage, no easy sell. Will you live or will you die? You never know until you try. Pick up the pieces as they fall. This ain't peace and this ain't war. Show your heart and be free. Trust yourself, you will see.